Welcome aboard! Hey, this is Rob Brown.
And this is Patrick Fortier-Brown.
And we are the Business of Boating podcast, but we're going to call it the Boatcast. And Pat, what's this Boatcast going to be about?
Well, we're trying to give you guys a behind-the-scenes look at the boating industry from both a business and a recreational view. We're going to be bringing in some people from the community and maybe some other dealerships as well and professionals in certain industries. We'll debate some hot topics and share with you the secrets of what makes a great marina function. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Hello, I'm Rob Brown.
And I'm Patrick Fortier-Brown.
Hey, and we've started this podcast. This is our introductory podcast, and it's the Business of Boating with Rob
and Pat.
And Pat. Hey, we're a father-son group. We are a small marine business in central Maine, and I've been doing this now, I think we were just talking about this, Pat, January 3rd of 1979, I started in the marine industry, and I think this year, if I calculate right, if my math is right, is going to be 39 years for me.
39 years. 14 more years and I've been alive.
So I did have a life before you.
I didn't say that.
Oh, yeah. Pat, you're bringing some experience of your own to this conversation, too.
Yes, I've been in with the company on and off for the last 10 or so years, in and out of school, high school, college. Before coming in, I have some experience in the tech industry, in addition to event promotion, among other small things. I'm excited to take upon a new leadership role here, and I'm looking forward to taking the experience from my outside work, in addition to the work that I had done within the company for the last 10 or so years, to really transform my role.
We're dabbling with the possibility, of course, with Pat, assuming my role at some point, maybe not as an ownership quickly, but at least a management position quickly, learning all aspects of the business. And hey, as we go and as I pass on some of my information, my knowledge to Pat, would like to invite you into some of those conversations and some of those experiences that we'll have as this process takes place.
I'm excited to get this underway. Everybody that we bring in and every topic that we do, we will have some base knowledge of. But just like for you, this will be a learning experience for me, and I'm excited to start it.
I think it's going to give a good perspective of, say, I'm a boomer. I'm at the tail end of the boomers, and I don't mind being a boomer. I'm cool with that. That designation, and Pat's of the younger group. You guys are, what do they call you again, Pat?
25 years old. I'm a millennial.
A millennial. Oh, cool.
All you have to do is Google it, and you'll find all the nasty articles you want to.
I hear that, but you know what? My experience with bringing younger folks in, especially people your age, and maybe just a little older, I think you get a bad rap. I really do. And I think every generation has their people that are maybe a little more lazy or don't pay as close attention. But, my experience has been we've got a lot of younger people working here right now.
We do, yeah. And especially within the last few years, we've been stockpiling them.
They're good, smart people.
Exactly, yeah. A transition is going through the marine industry now where, we are turning over some younger folk, and it's important to include them into your future plans.
Sure. Now, you grew up as a boater because obviously we boated.
Yeah, I could drive a boat well before I could drive a car.
I've got a picture of maybe not yourself on here, but I know you were in that position at one point. Here we're sitting in my office at our Monmouth facility. of Pat's younger son when he was a younger son. Younger brother, my youngest son, Adam. And he was driving a boat in that picture at probably 8 or 9 years old. And of course, we're standing right behind him, keeping an eye out. But it's one of those things that's pretty exciting for a young person like that.
Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, I was driving a boat well before I could drive a car.
Mm-hmm. And you enjoyed it. You grew up. We had a camp during the summer. There's a lot of great experiences out there on the water.
Absolutely. And then with working in the marina, by the time, pretty much right when I got my driver's license, I was picking up and delivering boats. I was hauling, picking up, delivering. It's just kind of been a way of life for me.
Yeah, it's been a summer job.
Absolutely.
I know that you were able to do quite a few things throughout your high school years, simply, and you've always had a good work ethic. So, we sat down here this morning and we were thinking about, okay, this is our first attempt at this to see what we're going to talk about, and there are a number of things that we'd like to do with this podcast. We're going to be inviting people in to get their perspective on fishing, boating. There's going to be times that we're going to be talking about books we're reading. I'm real big on education. I didn't get a chance as a youth to go to school. It was just different back in that day. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't have the abilities to go to extended to college or whatnot. So I taught myself through books, through reading. And I've got a pretty decent library, wouldn't you think, Pat?
Yeah, and a lot of those are sitting on my bookshelf now.
Right now, yeah. They're things that I've learned, and I've said to Pat, here, read this book. There's some really good information. We're starting this afternoon as a group with a book that we'll be bringing up shortly and talking about. And I think that brings in the business of the boating part of it, is that it truly is a business. This is not a sideline. And there are certain levels of attention people are used to getting in society with whomever they trade with, whether it be a car dealership or a grocery store. There's certain business ethics and a certain way of making sure that the business stays around for years to come to serve people as we go. So, and that's going to be some of the transfer of knowledge, but I think we're going to take time on occasion to pull out some of the chapters and talk about some of the books that we're going to work with. Wouldn't you think that would be helpful, Pat?
That absolutely would be. One thing that's exciting about this podcast, although we'll be primarily focusing it around our work and our business plan, our business model, how we operate, we're also excited to bring in different perspectives. We're going to be bringing in guests that have to do with different issues that we're going to be talking about every week. And as we speak to them, not only will we be passing the info along to you, we'll be picking up some info ourselves. We're looking at this as a dynamic piece that'll just continue developing as we go forward.
Yeah, very good points, Pat. I know that we've talked to enough people over time. We have great contacts locally with water quality groups, with the bass and the fishing groups. Bill LaFlamme with trout, with the trout group. Things that are important, I think, to people in boating. And it's the fun parts of it as well as the logistics part of it. We'll talk a great deal about water quality because that's been really one of our pet projects. It has been my entire career. I've worked with the Friends of the Cobsey Watershed on water quality in our area, and we've branched out to other organizations. Correct?
Absolutely. It's important to know that although we're a marina in Central Maine, we don't although we specialize in boats and winterizing, storage, servicing boats, we also work a lot with the community to make sure that we dampen the impact of boating on the environment and our particular community. So we're regularly working with these groups, and we're going to continue.
I think that every business has some kind of a core behind itself. It is to serve people. In our case, it's to serve boaters here in Central Maine. Mm-hmm. But what more do you do? And I've always appreciated the ability of having gained the position that I have or earned the position I've had, and been fortunate enough for this community to get behind me and support me in trade, so that we've been able to do other things that we don't a lot of times talk about in parts of helping local ball teams, or I mean, the church groups, the Lions Club. Without the support of the community, I look at it as a duty, or as almost a community service, to make sure to give back and work through those organizations to help them achieve their goals as well. As Pat mentioned, we're going to have a number of guests that we're going to be speaking to locally as well. Maybe even see what we can do to drag another dealer in here on occasion, if we're willing to get somebody to be willing to come in and sit down and talk with us.
I imagine that would be quite a fun interaction. Although all the businesses in the area, or all of the businesses that we interact with, work differently, I'm willing to bet that we have a lot of the same theories, a lot of the same processes, and it's going to be pretty exciting to learn that at the same time you guys do.
Absolutely, it would be good to have somebody come in, who's gone through maybe the transfer of ownership or the business or management from one generation to another. Kind of talk a little bit about that. Talk about other experience as well. We'll bring our own experiences to the table from time to time. This introductory podcast has been a little bit over reaching. Wouldn't you say? We've kind of talked about a lot of different things.
We've jumped around.
We have jumped around, absolutely. I think what that is putting across is, man, there's a lot of topics out there that I feel that we could comment on, and maybe I hope our listeners find of interest.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for listening. I think we're going to stop it here, and we look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Hey, from this podcast, the beginning, the business of boating. Hey, this is Rob Brown. And
this is Patrick Fortier-Brown.
Hey, we're with Clark Marine. We really appreciate you listening in. We hope you come back at the next one.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.